and tremendous appreciation for the crowd. Our people there on Friday night, they were absolutely awesome and impactful. I want to also appreciate the resiliency of our players, finding a way to get it done and get a W, and also really appreciate the humility of our organization coming in yesterday and getting to work and addressing all the things that we can do better and must do better to continue progressing throughout the season. So, questions, please.
Mario, with first trip out of the state now without going cross country, just what preparation goes into that, and where you guys need to make sure the body clock and getting adjust to the time zone? How are you guys trying to prep for that?
Well, it's a later game, so the adjustment would be in the, we got an extra day of rest, which was good for us, playing a Friday game. And then as the week goes on, you push things back an hour, hour and a half, where you end up gaining back or pushing forward 3 hours so that your body feels like you're playing at a normal night game here on the East Coast. But we'll travel out there a day earlier as well. And then, though, again, the trip back doesn't matter, go play your best game and find a way to be 1-0.
You talk about the humility of the organization to address what needed to be addressed. What does that mean to you? What does that look like?
Reality. I mean, look right at the film, look at each other as coaches, as players, our preparation, assess it all. The fundamentals, the simplicity of blocking and tackling, throwing and catching, decision-making, finishing plays, technique and fundamentals. Football is really simple, but sometimes we complicate it because of, we sometimes see things we're not supposed to see. We lose our discipline, we lose our focus. The effort was really, really good, but the details were lacking. And with an entire organization and program, we got to do a better job making sure that we tighten those things up to perform better, to perform at a higher level. And also, I want to say this, you got to give credit to Virginia Tech. That's a good football program with good players. I think it's always important it's the right way, the respectful way to treat football, to always give credit to the opponent.
Mario, when it comes to focusing on those things you said you work on, blocking and tackling, I mean, what are the details that go into that? Is it just different or extra drills, more the film room? What's the exact thing that goes into when you say more work? I guess?
Well, I think going back to the reality of it, I mean, we've been doing that at a high level for a few weeks, and there were some high-level moments and some high-level performances on Friday night as well. And some of the lapses are sometimes focus, sometimes concentration, sometimes discipline, sometimes being overly eager to make a play as opposed to doing your job. When you do your job and you do it well, the plays come to you. And we take that all as a whole. We don't point fingers. I mean, you always said it a million times ad nauseum. You got to coach it better, got to play it better, got to practice it better. So the intensity, the detail of preparation has to just be really turned up and focused, and making sure that the slips, the missed tackles, the missed blocks, the missed assignments can be made right, and we get better as a program.
How important is a win like that, having your backs against the wall, down lift in the fourth quarter, just for the program, and just knowing, hey, for a situation like this?
I think every program needs it if you want to attain the things you want to throughout the course of the year. Football and winning is hard, I think people lose sight, and I guess maybe what's the best way to put this? I mean, football is a 4-quarter game, and overtime if necessary, and people get distracted when it's not domination from play one. Well, you know what? Domination may come in the form of a 50-0 game. It may come in the form of a last-second play on any given Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But it is a full 4-quarter game, and I think that understanding that winning is hard because people have good players, and keeping intensity and focus really high is always a challenge as the season progresses, but it's also what separates the really good teams from the ones that might be kind of good but can fall off.
You had to dip into your depth quite a bit on Friday night, especially on defense.
Yes.
How pleased are you with some of the guys that had to step up into bigger roles? And how big is that for navigating a season?
I think we had to dig deep into our depth and played a lot of guys, and I don't think that circumstance is unique to us. I think the entire country is going through at some point or other. We just got hit with a rash of issues at that one particular position. And I think preparation, I think camp, the things that we had been working on for a while, focus on the developing every part of the roster showed up. Particularly Malik Bryant, who was player of the game for us, made some big plays, not only on the special teams play, but also on defense. And I mean, you have to put the emphasis of development on coaches and on players equally, but you have to force that every single day. Like, we're a real pain. I'm a real pain about making sure we're developing guys. You could get lost and, man, this guy's playing so good, we're doing so well, and all of a sudden that guy's gone. Well, what about the guy coming in after that? There better not be a drop-off, or it better be minimal for us to sustain success. So it's a lot of focus on that. I mean, there's more to come. I think there's some other players at wide receiver. There's some other players at, I would say, at the offensive line position, another guy at the tight end position. There's some other guys that are about to pop now as well, that have been developing, performing well in practice, getting reps with the ones that I think their time is, you're going to see their time here. It could be this week, but in the following weeks, you're going to see a lot more guys playing.
So like Royal making that crucial stop on that interception, how big of an impact do you think that had on the game, the momentum of everything?
It's probably the play of the game, because not only does it get the guy on the ground, but also 4 plays later, it's the fake field goal that was tackled by Malik Bryant. So instead of that being, us going in, scoring 7, going 7 the other way, 0, and we get the ball back and actually go down and score. So, yeah, that effort, that's something to be kept for forever. That's something to be shown to your teams forever. I'm sure people across the country are using that example to show their team. When we find an example like that, we always show it to our team. You want to show them good examples, no matter who does it. Football is, right? I mean, the class on the grass, it's the best classroom in the world, in my opinion. And when your own player does something like that, man, it is awesome, And there were a couple other moments like that as well.
Do you know what mile per hour he hit on that chase down?
He hit, I think it was 21 something. I know he wants his speed grade bumped up on the video game. I know that was a big thing. They should, but he hit. We were having some guys hit some really high speeds, some high top speeds.
With Elijah, just overall, just to see him finally healthy, being able to produce, play like that, stuff in the first quarter, and just all season, for him to finally being able to have a chance and taking advantage of it, just how good is that from your perspective?
It's incredible. It's awesome for him. It's awesome for the team. That guy is, man, we're very fortunate to have a lot of awesome guys on the team. He's one of those guys that, man, you want your own son to be like that guy. That guy's the ultimate team player. He's been through a lot. He's seen ups and downs, and now he's hitting his stride, and he's seeing things go this way. Couldn't be happier for the guy, and that guy's legitimately just really, really hungry for team success. So super happy for him.
Mario, that last play where the ref calls it a catch and then they reverse it, can you clear that up for us? Does the ref have to call it a catch in order to review it, or how does that work in that moment?
I think, instead of getting myself in trouble, I'll let the refs clear that up for you, I know there's a hotline, but I'll pass on the number as soon as I get it. But there was some, you've heard the explanations about, a guy being our guy out, touching the ball while he's out, no one having control. We've heard a couple different ways, but every single explanation leads to, it being an incomplete pass.
You faced some Justin Wilcox teams at your other stop.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the common traits that his teams always have out at Cal?
Yeah, they were always probably the toughest, most physical teams we always faced out on the West Coast. Every game came down to the end. I mean, there was one game that came down to, I believe Cal had 8 shots inside the 10-yard line to try to tie or win the game. Not to mention some other ones that came down to the last drive or last couple of drives. And I think it's reflected on this year's team as well. They lead the country in interceptions, turnover margin. They're like top 3 in the country, tops in the ACC. So many defensive categories are still in that realm, being the best in the conference and top 10 in the country. But probably the difference this year is that their offense is performing at a high level. We're very familiar with the quarterback. There's obviously a backstory there, having, the Mendoza family is, played with the dad, high school teammates and whatnot, exceptional player, exceptional family. And he's complemented by some really good skill players and a running back that was once committed to us at Oregon when I was out there as well, who was I think it was first team all Pac-12, preseason all ACC. they're explosive, they're fast. The timing of their passing game, I think, is elite. You know, hit a lot of back shoulder balls out quick. Screen game is great. The add-ons in their run game are impressive. They find a way to find leverage, angles, and numbers in the run game. They extend plays. Quarterback extends plays, does a great job. Their linebackers are absolutely just really, really good players. Physical, tough, fast. You know, Cam's played against them as well. You know, these guys, they are, you know, Coach Wilcox is an excellent football coach, and I think this team reflects him very well.
Ruben Bain, you know, set to make his return, like you mentioned earlier today. Just how big an impact is that going to be on that defensive line?
Well, let's go find out, right? You know, we know what kind of player he is. I mean, heck, it's been since game one we haven't had Ruben, Jalen Rivers, my man Rodriguez, Ryan, and Damari. Those are 4 guys. 2 of them went out for the coin toss. Those are important players. You know, they mean a lot to the team, both because of what they do on the field and what they bring to the locker room as well. So we expect he looked great. He looked great in warm-ups last week. I mean, he was kind of right there on we could probably go this past week, but we chose medically chose the right route, the correct route, because it just guarantees him better health going forward. So we're excited, and I know he's excited.
Obviously, you know, welcome news that Ruben's expected back, that Jalen could be back. A couple of guys who I think went out on Friday, I don't know if they came back or not, Elijah Alston, Jaden Harris, and Simeon Barrow. You know what their status is going forward?
Yeah, I feel good about Simeon, and I feel good about Jaden. I think Elijah is more day-to-day, but optimistic about him. But the other 2 I feel really good about.
When facing a team coming off a bye week, what type of challenge does that pose for you? Do you expect wrinkles or?
Yeah, you don't find out till
Yeah.
the ball snaps. You don't find out till the middle of the second quarter, halftime. There's, you know, you take a deep dive. You always scout every team in the summertime, and you have a preliminary game plan. And when the season starts, you got a couple weeks of film on them, so they usually mirror each other. But there's enough carryover where they're like, okay, what we planned on, what we worked on in the summer, we're going to be able to implement. And then when a team has a bye week, when they've studied all of your new wrinkles, it's an advantage. You know, their team is a little bit better rested, but that's football. You know, we're going to have our bye week coming up. We have an extra day as well. So, but again, I think it's more about the fact that we have to be more consistent in the level of our performance, and I think the focus and concentration has to be 100% on that.
With Malik Bryant, you kind of spoke about him a little bit earlier. Just talk about his progression and, you know, him taking every opportunity and kind of making a play every time he's on the field or when he ever gets a chance.
Well, he got an opportunity on Friday, and he did a really, really good job, and he's going to be pressed and pushed to do more. There's a lot of ability there. He is a really good human being. He's a really good athlete, great teammate, and it's our job to push him and get the most out of him. There's more in the tank there. You know, really proud of him. Comes from an awesome family, and you know, he's always wanted to be a Hurricane. So it's important to him. It's important to us, and he's going to have more opportunities this coming Saturday.
All right, you've talked in the past about how important Andy Borregales is. He hits that field goal at the end of the first half. Obviously, ends up being very important. But I think the last 3 Virginia Tech drives were all starting on touchbacks. Just how has he grown, and how does he live up to these possible big moments?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of confidence in him. You know, I thought we had 6 seconds on the clock, and they ticked off another second. You know, I don't know how that happened, but you know, 6 seconds, you probably got a chance to get something out to the sideline and get a little bit closer. But there's confidence in him. I mean, it was 55, 56, and it probably hit almost halfway up the net. So that thing had a lot of room to go. And then on kickoffs, you know, our kickoff cover guys get upset because they want to cover, they want to tackle. Those guys are getting better, but he almost has a personality now. He's gotten bigger. You notice like he's, you know, and not in a good way. You know, he's like, oh, you know, he's got some juice to him. He's got some muscle. He's a little bowed up, but his mentality's like a linebacker. Like he's very into it, very intense, very just much a defensive mentality, attack mode all the time. He wants it. I mean, he wants all the opportunities he can get to help the team, and you know, thankfully we haven't had him try to make a tackle yet. You know, but he's a very good tackler.
And even with special teams, obviously you don't want to punt, but Dylan Joyce has done very well.
Yes.
Very limited action. I think I saw a stat that I think coming into Friday's game, he punted the least of any starting punter in the country or something like that. How do you keep a punter engaged in the game when they're not punting very often? And does he get antsy not punting?
I'm not concerned about that at all. You know, I mean, the less we can punt, the better, as long as it's for the right reasons, that we're moving the ball and scoring. You know, he's done his performance on Friday was excellent, particularly the one over on the right hash. You know, the hang time on that, depth of that. I mean, when you force fair catches and you're getting the ball, I think it was 45, 46 yards down the field. That's awesome. The one over to the left, we had some coverage issues, but that's on us. We got to coach that better.
Ask you about him every week almost now, but Markel Bell, it was kind of a different level of challenge this week. How do you feel like you did?
I didn't like the holding call. I didn't think it was, but I'm not being critical of the officials. So, you know, to prevent a fine, I want to clear that up. You know, I'm just being honest. I think it was very theatrical. You know, just it's a twisted position. Defensive end's trying to make a play. It's slippery. Things happen. Markel he gets better and better, and he's a guy that's resilient. A lot like we talk about Cam. If Markel has a play that's not great, he bounces back quick. He doesn't live in his head and keeps thinking, no, he just goes. And so he keeps getting better and better. He now has, 4 games of experience under his belt at this level. He's done it on the road. He's done it at home against really good players. I mean, their pass rush was really high level. I mean, those guys, one of them leads the country in sacks, and they were top 10. And in the run game, he's getting better and better. So really proud of him, man, and he's going to be a great player. Good. Thank you, guys.